You're listening to Vampire's Fire by Celeste King.
Part of the romantasy TV collection within the Worlds of Protheka, where we aim to bring you bite-sized content that you can finish in one sitting.
As we follow a mysterious ring from one host to another, something becomes startlingly clear.
It craves chaos. In fact, it nearly feeds off of it.
Protheka's magic is eternal. It's more powerful than any one person could fathom.
Something we all forget as beings of Protheka is that the magic was here long before all of us, before Protheka itself.
And that it will be here long after us.
Something we also tend to forget is that we can find the uncut, full version of any Worlds of Protheka audiobook on worldsofprotheka.com.
With code YouTube30, we can get our hands on a 30% discount that is applicable to any digital product, even if it's already listed at a discounted price.
You're listening to Vampire's Fire by Celeste King.
Chapter 1. Talia. Whips crack in the air, snapping with a sharp, unforgiving sound that sends shivers down my spine. The dark elves bark orders, their voices harsh and devoid of warmth. I try to keep up with the caravan, my feet dragging through the dust of the dark market. Every step feels like an eternity, my muscles screaming for relief that never comes. "Move faster, human!" one of them snarls, shoving me forward with a rough hand. His violet eyes gleam with disdain. The market is a cacophony of sounds and smells that assault my senses. Vendors hawk their wares in guttural tones, and the stench of unwashed bodies mingles with the scent of exotic spices. The dark market is a place where dreams come to die, a labyrinth of cruelty and despair. A slave like me has no rights here. We are property, nothing more than tools for the dark elves' amusement and labour. My wrists bear the marks of their cruelty, raw and red from the shackles that dig into my flesh. The memory of last night's beating still lingers, each bruise a reminder of my place in this twisted society. The caravan halts near a towering obsidian structure, one of the many stalls where slaves are penned in like livestock. A whip cracks again, closer this time. I flinch involuntarily, earning another shove from behind as we are ushered into the stalls for the night. I collapse from utter exhaustion. In this moment, hope feels as distant as the stars hidden behind the perpetual twilight of this forsaken place. The next morning, I get a slight reprieve from my suffocating pen when I'm forced to clean my master's quarters. I slowly drag my feet up the winding staircase, the cold stone biting through my worn soles. Inside, opulence drips from every corner, velvet drapes, ornate furniture, and a massive bed adorned with silk sheets. I glance around, making sure no one watches me, then get to work. Dusting a shelf, I notice something glinting behind a stack of old books. My fingers itch with curiosity. Moving the books aside reveals a ring, delicate and intricate, its surface etched with strange runes. It pulses with an odd warmth as I pick it up. "What's this doing here?" I mutter to myself. Without thinking, I slide it onto my finger. A jolt of energy surges through me, knocking the breath from my lungs. The room spins, colours blur and blend until they become a kaleidoscope of chaos. When the world rights itself, I catch my reflection in a polished silver mirror. My heart skips a beat. The grime and exhaustion that usually mar my features are gone. My skin glows with an otherworldly lustre. My eyes, now vibrant and clear, sparkle like precious gems. I touch my face in disbelief. My hair, once tangled and dull, flows like liquid midnight down my back. Even the tattered dress seems to shimmer with newfound elegance. What happened? As if in answer, a faint hum vibrates through my body. I raise my hand instinctively, and sparks dance at my fingertips. The air around me crackles with latent energy. I close my eyes and focus, feeling the magic coiling within me like a serpent ready to strike. Tentatively, I flick my wrist. A small flame bursts to life above my palm, a miniature sun casting warm light across the room. I gasp, nearly dropping it in surprise. The flame flickers out as quickly as it appeared, but the sensation lingers, a promise of power waiting to be unleashed. I flex my fingers, marvelling at their newfound strength. This is incredible. My mind starts racing with a million different thoughts at once about this incredible discovery. I cannot help but think that this transformation may be temporary or incomplete somehow, but I can't deny the fact that it's real. And for now, that's enough for me. My heart pounds faster as I stare at the ring on my finger. It feels like a lifeline, a whisper of power in a world where I have none. But then reality crashes in. If my masters see this, no, I can't let them know. I slip the ring off, my hand shaking. It's heavier than it looks, as if it's imbued with more than just magic. Hastily, I tuck it into a hidden pocket sewn into my ragged dress, a small rebellion against my captors. Voices echo down the hallway. Panic seizes me. I snatch up a broom and start sweeping with exaggerated vigour, keeping my eyes downcast as two dark elf overseers saunter in. They talk among themselves, their voices a mix of disdain and boredom. My heart hammers in my chest, but they don't seem to notice anything amiss. After what feels like an eternity, they leave. I release a deep breath I didn't realise I was holding. The ring burns against my side where it's hidden, but it's a comforting heat now, a reminder of the power it holds and what it could mean for me. For the first time in what feels like forever, hope flickers within me. This ring, it's more than just an escape tool. It's potential for freedom, for change, maybe even for revenge against those who've tormented me for so long. I finish my chores with renewed determination, each sweep of the broom a silent promise to myself. I will survive this, and one day I will be free.
Chapter 2. Darius. The dark market pulses with life, a twisted carnival of shadows and whispers. Hooded figures barter over rare artifacts, their voices a murmur beneath the canopy of interwoven branches. The scent of roasted meat mingles with the acrid stench of potions, creating a heady mix that clings to the air. I navigate through the crowd, my eyes scanning for anything out of the ordinary. A sudden jolt runs through me. I freeze, every sense sharpened. The ring's magic calls out, a siren song that pierces through the noise and chaos. It tugs at my very essence, compelling me to seek its source. Out of my way, I snap at a stumbling merchant who nearly spills a vial of glowing liquid on my boots. He stammers an apology and scurries off, leaving me to focus on the beacon of power that flickers like a distant flame in my mind. The ring. It's close. Curiosity gnaws at me, a relentless hunger that refuses to be satisfied. The legend spoke of its power, how it could bend reality and amplify one's abilities beyond comprehension. But those were just stories, tales told to frighten fledglings. Yet here I stand, drawn by something undeniable. I push through the throng, my mind racing with possibilities. What kind of fool would flaunt such an artifact in a place like this? Or perhaps they don't even realize what they possess. Each step intensifies my internal conflict. My rational mind warns me of potential traps and hidden dangers. But another part, a more primal instinct, craves the power that lies ahead. I must have it. A group of dark elves haggles loudly over a shipment of rare herbs nearby, their voices grating against my ears. Ignoring them, I press forward until I reach an open clearing where several paths converge. And then I see her. A human girl, her eyes wide with both fear and determination. She clutches something close to her chest, oblivious to the storm she's about to unleash. The ring's magic hums in response to her presence, confirming what I already suspect. She is the source, the one who holds what I seek. I can't help but smile as possibilities unfold before me like an intricate tapestry. This girl has no idea what she possesses or the destiny she stumbled upon. and neither do those who dare to stand in my way. The human girl stands on a makeshift stage, her eyes darting around like a cornered animal. The auctioneer's voice drones on, extolling her newfound beauty and other virtues to the assembled crowd. Dark elves lean in, their interest piqued, but none know the true value of what she possesses. I stay in the shadows, observing. The ring's magic pulses faintly from her, a steady rhythm that syncs with my own heartbeat. I need her, but not through direct means. That would draw too much attention. Instead, I rely on intermediaries, pawns in my larger game. A man approaches me, his cloak obscuring most of his features. "Darius," he whispers. I nod, keeping my eyes fixed on her. "You know what to do." He slips away, blending into the crowd like smoke in the wind. I watch as he slides up to another dark elf, this one a known trader with deep pockets and shallow loyalties. "Quite the specimen, isn't she?" my intermediary says, loud enough for the trader to hear. The trader's eyes narrow. "What's your angle?" "A mutual benefit," my intermediary replies smoothly. "You buy her, I compensate you handsomely afterward." The trader glances at the human girl again, then back at my intermediary. "And why should I trust you?" My man smiles, showing a hint of teeth. "Because you can't afford not to." The trader considers this for a moment before nodding. They shake hands, an unspoken pact forged in greed and opportunity. The auction continues, bids flying back and forth. My intermediary raises his hand at strategic moments, goading the price higher, but never intending to win. Finally, the trader steps forward. 200 nodals, he declares. A murmur ripples through the crowd. It's an exorbitant sum for a mere human slave, even one as captivating as she has become. The auctioneer's gavel comes down with a resounding thud. Sold! I allow myself a small smile as the trader moves to claim his prize. He thinks he's won something precious when he's merely facilitated my acquisition. She is led away. She glances around, scared but determined not to show it. "Well done," I whisper to myself as I slip away from the scene, ready to reclaim what is rightfully mine. I watch as the trader, now the human's temporary owner, guides her away from the stage. Her eyes flicker with confusion and defiance. My intermediary falls back into step beside me, his expression smug. "Well?" "Perfect," I say. "You did well." We move through the throng with purpose. As we approach the trader's tent, I signal for my intermediary to wait. I step inside, my presence masked by a glamour spell that cloaks me in darkness. "I believe you have something that belongs to me," I say. His eyes widen as he realizes who stands before him. "Darius," he breathes, fear lacing his voice. "Hand her over," I command. He hesitates for a moment before nodding and stepping aside. She stands there. "You," I say to her. "Come with me." The dark market fades behind us as we disappear into the shadows.
Chapter 3. Talia. The cold, damp air of the underground lair clings to my skin. My pulse quickens as he leads me through a narrow corridor, his grip firm around my wrist. He's not a dark elf, nor a human, but something else entirely. The walls pulse with an eerie glow, veins of magic sparkling like stardust trapped in stone. "You won't need to worry about dark elves here," he says, his voice smooth but edged with something I can't quite place. Their territory ends above ground. "Who are you?" I manage, trying to steady my breath. He stops and turns to face me, his dark eyes almost blending into the shadows. "I'm Darius, and you," he says, eyeing the ring on my finger, "are wearing something that doesn't belong to you." I glance down at the ring, its intricate design seeming to pulse with life. "I found it," I say, trying to sound braver than I feel. "And it has transformed you," Darius replies. "That ring is no ordinary trinket. It holds the power of Akeldama." Akaldama? I echo, feeling a shiver run down my spine. Our deity, he explains. That ring is sacred to us vrakken. It shouldn't be in the hands of a human. Then why did it choose me? I challenge, pulling my wrist free from his grasp. Darius narrows his eyes. Take it off. No. The word escapes my lips before I can think it through. He steps closer, his presence overwhelming. You don't understand what you're dealing with. That ring can either make or break you. I won't take it off, I repeat, feeling a surge of defiance. It awakened something inside me. Darius tilts his head, curiosity flickering in his gaze. What do you mean? I can feel it, I whisper. Magic, power, something more than just this ring. For a moment, he looks almost impressed. Then his expression hardens again. You have no idea what you're risking by keeping it. Maybe not, I admit, meeting his gaze head on. But it's mine now. Silence stretches between us. It feels like a weight pressing down on me. Darius's gaze burns into me, intense and unyielding. I swallow hard, trying to ignore the way my heart pounds in my chest. You think you can handle it? He asks, his voice low and dangerous. The power of Akaldama isn't something to toy with. I don't want to toy with it, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. I want to understand it. Understand? He lets out a humorless laugh. You have no idea what you're saying. Then teach me, I counter, surprising even myself. Show me what it means. His eyes narrow, suspicion clouding his features. And why should I do that? Because you need me, I say, taking a step closer. The ring chose me for a reason. You overestimate your importance, he snaps. Do I challenge, lifting my chin. If the ring is so powerful, then maybe it saw something in me that you can't. For a moment, Darius looks taken aback. Then he recovers, his expression hardening once more. You're playing a dangerous game. So are you, I retort. You think you can just take it from me? Try. His eyes flash with something dark and unreadable. He reaches out, but I step back, holding up my hand to stop him. No, I say firmly. If you want the ring, you'll have to earn it. Darius's lips curl into a sneer. You think you can set terms with me? You're nothing but a human slave. Not anymore, I reply, feeling a surge of confidence. I'm more than that now. He takes another step forward, his presence looming over me. You have no idea what you're getting into. Darius pauses, studying me with an intensity that makes my skin prickle. Darius's gaze suddenly shifts to something darker. He grips my wrist again, tighter this time, and pulls me hard along the dimly lit corridor. We pass through an archway into a larger chamber, where a heavy metal cage stands in the centre. You can't be serious, I say, trying to pull away. He doesn't respond. Instead, he unlocks the cage door and shoves me inside with surprising force. The door slams shut behind me with a resounding clang. You think this will make me give up the ring? I ask, gripping the bars. You're wrong. Darius steps closer, his face inches from mine. You have no idea what you're dealing with, he says, voice low and menacing. The ring is not meant for you. And you think imprisoning me will change that? I ask. He takes a step back, his expression unreadable. You'll see reason soon enough. With that, he turns and leaves the chamber, his footsteps echoing down the corridor until they fade into silence. I sit down on the cold stone floor of the cage, wrapping my arms around myself. The ring pulses on my finger, a comforting warmth against my skin. I glance at it, its intricate design glowing faintly in the dim light. I won't give you up, I whisper to the ring, feeling a surge of determination. You chose me for a reason, and I'm not letting go. The air around me feels charged with magic, like it's alive and listening. I close my eyes and focus on that sensation, drawing strength from it. No matter what Darius thinks or does, I won't give up this power. The ring is mine now, and I'll do whatever it takes to keep it.
Orcs, gargoyles, vampires, ice monsters, demons of the dark. These beasts seek war, destruction, and power. And there's only one thing that can tame them.
Love.
This is your chance to get the uncut and unabridged audiobook bundle.
No detail is spared.
Use discount code YouTube30 for an additional 30% off of the already discounted price.
Go to worldsofprotheka.com.
Get access to countless audiobooks and discounted bundles where I talk you through every last scene.
Protheka's magic is eternal. Audio bundles will make it immersive.
Chapter 4. Darius. The crackle of magical energy fills the chamber, my fingers aching from the strain of maintaining the spell. Talia writhes within the circle of runes, her eyes defiant despite the pain. "Remove the ring," I command, voice cold and unyielding. "Never," she fires back, sweat glistening on her brow. Her resilience surprises me. Most humans would have broken by now. I tighten my grip on the spell, drawing out a scream from her lips. She gasps, but her gaze never wavers. "You don't understand what you're dealing with," I warn. "That ring is beyond your comprehension." She laughs, a harsh sound in the dim light. "You underestimate me, Darius." I watch as she flexes her fingers, tendrils of light sparking from her fingertips. She's learning to control it, slowly, but surely. This complicates matters. "You think a few tricks will save you?" I snarl, pushing more power into the spell. Her body convulses, yet she manages to raise her hand, palm outward. A barrier forms between us, weak, but present. "You're stronger than you look," I admit, easing off the spell slightly. "But strength won't save you here." "Maybe not," she pants, "but I'm not giving up this ring." The determination in her eyes gives me pause. It's not just stubbornness, it's something deeper. The ring has chosen her for a reason. This realization fuels my frustration. Her growing confidence grates on me. I channel more energy into my attack, sending bolts of pain through her body. She cries out but doesn't falter. Instead, she focuses on her newfound magical abilities, weaving them into a shield that grows stronger with each attempt. The room hums with magic as we clash, our wills locked in battle. She deflects another strike with surprising finesse. The air crackles as she draws more power from the ring. It's clear she's growing into its potential faster than I anticipated. Her resistance isn't just about keeping the ring, it's about mastering it. Her tenacity gnaws at me now, an irritating thorn lodged deep. Each clash, each deflected blow, it becomes clearer. Brute force won't bend her will. Talia stands firm, a rock in a raging river. My frustration bubbles up, threatening to spill over. "You think you can win?" I taunt, though my heart isn't in it. "I think you can't break me," she replies, voice steady despite her trembling frame. A flicker of admiration sparks within me. She's not just surviving, she's thriving under pressure. I ease off the spell and step back, my mind racing. Her magic grows stronger with each pulse of the ring's power. She isn't just holding her ground, she's pushing back. This isn't working. "You surprise me," I admit grudgingly. She narrows her eyes, suspicion coloring her features. "Is that supposed to flatter me?" "No," I say flatly, "but it does complicate things." Her barrier flickers but holds steady. Her breath comes in short gasps, yet she stands tall. There's no breaking this girl. Not like this. Her gaze sharpens, watching my every move as I pace around the room. I need another angle, a different approach to pry the ring from her grasp without destroying her in the process. Perhaps it's time for less force and more finesse. The ring responds to her because it sees something in her that I haven't yet grasped fully. If only I can understand that connection. We don't have to be enemies, I suggest. And we don't have to be friends, she retorts. True. My gaze locks onto hers. But we could be allies. Her silence is thoughtful rather than dismissive this time, a small victory in itself. Why should I trust you? She asks, suspicion lacing her tone. Trust is a luxury neither of us can afford, I reply. But mutual benefit? That's something we can both work with. She narrows her eyes. What do you want? I need someone with your newfound talents, I say, choosing my words carefully. Someone who can go places I cannot, do things I cannot be seen doing. An errand girl? She scoffs, but there's a spark of interest beneath the derision. No, I correct, leaning in slightly. An assassin. Her breath catches, and for a moment uncertainty flickers across her face. It's quickly replaced by a mask of defiance. Why me? Because you're not just anyone anymore, I say, gesturing to the ring on her finger. You have power now, and power can open doors, or close them permanently. She looks at her hand, the ring glinting in the dim light. And what do I get out of this arrangement? Freedom, I offer, watching her reaction closely. From your past, from those who would seek to control you. And perhaps a chance to understand the true potential of that ring. She considers this, weighing her options. Her eyes meet mine, filled with a mixture of hope and skepticism. The room falls silent as she contemplates my words. The hum of magic still lingers in the air, but it feels different now. Less combative, more collaborative. You expect me to kill for you? She finally asks, voice steady. I expect you to survive, I correct her. And sometimes survival requires difficult choices. She inhales deeply, then nods once. It's not agreement. It's acknowledgement of the reality we both face. Fine, she says quietly. With that, the tension in the room shifts subtly. We're no longer adversaries locked in a power struggle. We're reluctant allies bound by necessity.
Chapter 5. Talia. The moon hangs high, casting an eerie glow over the crumbling ruins of the old temple. I creep through the shadows, every muscle taut, my senses sharp. Darius follows, his presence a dark weight behind me. Stay close, he whispers, his voice like gravel scraping against stone. I nod, though he can't see me. The ring hums on my finger, a steady pulse that matches the beat of my heart. Its power courses through me, giving me strength and confidence. Yet a part of me trembles. I'm no killer. We reach the temple's entrance where 2 guards stand watch. Darius steps forward, his form shifting into the shadow itself. One guard's eyes widen in terror before he collapses, lifeless. The other never gets the chance to scream. Your turn, Darius says, materializing beside me. Remember what I taught you. I swallow hard and move forward, silent as a wraith. Inside, the air is thick with incense and whispers of ancient spells. The target, a minor noble who crossed Darius, sits on a throne of bones at the far end of the hall. I draw closer, each step measured and precise. The ring's power thrums in my veins, but my mind churns with doubt. Can I do this? Take a life for him? Do it, Darius commands from behind me. The noble looks up, eyes widening as he sees me approach. His mouth opens to shout an alarm, but I raise my hand and unleash a burst of energy from the ring. It strikes him square in the chest. His scream cuts short as he slumps forward. A sickening silence follows. I turn to Darius, my stomach churning with a mix of triumph and revulsion. He nods, satisfaction gleaming in his dark eyes. Well done. I bite back a retort and look away. This is what I am now, a tool for his vengeance. Yet even as I hate myself for it, a part of me relishes the power I've discovered. We leave the temple in silence, our task complete. The ring's glow fades to a dull shimmer as we melt back into the night. And while my heart wars with my mind over what I've become, one thing is certain. There's no turning back now. The night air chills my skin as we return to Darius's lair. His eyes, dark and piercing, never leave me. I can sense a change in his demeanour, a shift from disdain to something more complex. Attraction? Respect? I can't be sure. "You're getting stronger," he remarks, breaking the silence. I glance at him. It's overwhelming sometimes, I admit. But I feel it growing inside me, like a storm waiting to be unleashed. He steps closer, his presence both intimidating and magnetic. You must learn to control it, harness it. His gaze locks onto mine, and for a moment, I forget to breathe. Over the next few days, our training intensifies. Darius pushes me to my limits and beyond, forcing me to tap into reserves of power I never knew existed. Each session leaves me exhausted, but exhilarated. I'm drenched in sweat, but the sense of accomplishment is undeniable. "You did well," Darius says as we finally call it a night. "Coming from you, that almost sounds like a compliment," I reply with a tired grin. "Don't get used to it." He smirks, but there's a glint of admiration in his eyes that wasn't there before. As days turn into weeks, the tension between us grows thicker, charged with an undercurrent of something neither of us wants to name. Each touch during training sends sparks dancing across my skin. Each shared glance lingers longer than necessary. And with each passing day, my confidence swells alongside my magical prowess. I'm no longer just a slave girl with a stolen ring. I'm becoming something more, something powerful. One dark night, we approach our next target. My heart pounds in my chest, a rhythm that mirrors the ring's steady pulse. Darius's presence beside me is both a comfort and a burden. "He'll be in the tavern," Darius says, his voice low. "Get in, do it clean, get out." I nod, feeling the weight of his expectations. The ring hums, eager for action. Inside, the tavern is dimly lit, filled with the scent of stale ale and sweat. The target sits at a corner table. I glide through the room, unnoticed, a shadow among shadows. Darius's instructions echo in my mind, swift and silent. I approach the table, my hand tingling with the ring's power. The target looks up, his eyes fill with fear. A burst of energy from my hand sends him sprawling to the floor, lifeless. Gasps fill the room, but I'm already moving back towards the door. "Good," Darius murmurs to me as we slip into the night back to his lair. "Very good." His praise sends a shiver down my spine. I look up at him, catching a rare glimpse of approval in his eyes. As we finally reach the inside of his lair, his gaze softens, something unspoken passing between us. The tension that has been building for weeks reaches a breaking point. "Enough," he says suddenly, pulling me close. His lips crash against mine with a force that leaves me breathless. I respond instinctively and kiss him back with equal fervour. The world around us fades. There is only the heat of his body against mine and the raw intensity of our connection.
Chapter 6. Darius. Unfortunately, part of this chapter is too hot and heavy for YouTube to handle. If you want the full scene, get the unabridged version of Vampire's Fire at worldsofprotheka.com and listen entirely ad-free. With code YouTube30, you can get the entire story from start to finish for 30% off of any audiobooks, ebooks, or bundles on the website. Let's return to the story. Talia finally stirs beside me, the glow of the ring still casting shadows on the stone walls. I really should be strategizing our next move, considering how to leverage her powerful abilities for our mutual benefit. Instead, my mind lingers on the way her gentle fingers trail up my chest. "I don't understand you," I say, breaking the silence. "One moment you resist me with every fiber of your being, the next—" "Don't act like you're any different," she cuts in. Her voice is sharper than her gaze, but there is an undercurrent of something softer there. Something almost tender. "We're both caught up in this," I murmur. "This ring binds us." "Is it just the ring?" she asks, eyes searching mine with desperation. Her question hangs in the air like a challenge. I want to dismiss it immediately, blame our connection on the ring's magic, but that would be too simple, too convenient. "I don't know," I admit, surprising myself with my honesty. She shifts closer to me, her body heat palpable against my pale skin. "You know what's really strange? For all your cruelty and arrogance, you're the only one who makes me feel alive." I laugh softly, a sound devoid of any humor. "That's because I'm not like them. The dark elves. They take pleasure in torment. We vrakken. We just exist." "But you're not just existing," she says. "Not anymore." The truth of her words gnaws at my core. Before Talia and that infernal ring, my life followed a clear path. Power, control, survival. Now, it is a tangled mess of conflicting desires and uncharted emotions. "And you?" I ask. "What do you want?" Her lips press into a thin line as she considers her answer. "Freedom," she says finally. "But maybe also something more. I'm not quite sure." Her honest admission stirs something deep within me, a longing I thought I had buried under centuries of apathy. "Freedom is not easily granted," I say, "but perhaps we can find it together." Her eyes narrow slightly, suspicion mingling with hope. "Together?" "Yes," I say, feeling the weight of the promise settle over me. "Together." We lie there in silence once more, both grappling with the implications of our words and the undeniable connection that binds us tighter than any chain ever could. In this moment of fragile truce, I find myself wondering if Talia's right, if perhaps there is more to this connection of ours than power and survival. Perhaps now there is something worth fighting for beyond mere existence. And perhaps, just maybe, it is standing right beside me.
Chapter 7. Talia. I slice through the air, and a shimmering trail of magic follows, illuminating the dark chamber. Darius watches me from his chair, eyes narrowed in concentration. "Impressive," he says, his voice a rumble. "But can you control it?" "Watch and learn," I reply, letting the magic flow through me. I raise my other hand, conjuring a ball of flame that dances on my fingertips. The heat kisses my skin but doesn't burn. Darius rises, stepping closer. "You're getting stronger." I nod, not trusting myself to speak. Our proximity always does strange things to my insides. "Again," he commands. I take a deep breath and close my eyes, feeling the magic pulse within me. When I open them, a gust of wind whips around us, scattering loose papers and flickering the torches on the walls. "Control," he reminds me, his voice soft but firm. I focus, reining in the chaotic energy until it swirls in a tight vortex around my hand. Darius smiles, a rare sight that makes my heart skip a beat. "Better," he says. "You're becoming quite useful." "Is that all I am to you? Useful?" The words slip out before I can stop them. He tilts his head. "You're more than just useful, Talia." Our eyes lock, and for a moment, the room fades away. His gaze is intense, filled with something unspoken. Before I can decipher it, he turns away. We have work to do. As the weeks pass, our missions grow more dangerous, yet we move with an unspoken synergy. My magic evolves. One night after a particularly grueling mission, we collapse side by side in our hideout. "You've changed," he murmurs, tracing a finger along my jawline. "So have you," I reply, meeting his gaze head-on. He leans in closer until our breaths mingle. We're both becoming something else entirely. As the night wears on, I lie awake in the darkness, listening to Darius's even breathing beside me. The weight of his arm drapes over my waist, a possessive gesture that once made me feel protected. Now, it feels like a shackle. His lair is a fortress, a labyrinth of secrets and shadows. I know it well enough to navigate it blindfolded, yet the path to freedom remains elusive. The ring pulses on my finger, a constant reminder of the power I wield. But power alone isn't enough to break these chains. I shift slightly, careful not to wake him. My mind races, mapping out possibilities and pitfalls. Every glance Darius gives me, every touch, complicates things further. He's not just my captor, he's become something more, a mentor, a lover. But that doesn't change what I need to do. My heart aches with the thought of leaving him behind. His rare smiles, his moments of unexpected tenderness. They've carved out a place in my soul. Yet every time he sends me on another mission, every time he commands my magic for his own ends, the longing for freedom grows stronger. I have to leave. The decision feels like betrayal, but what choice do I have? To stay is to lose myself bit by bit, until there's nothing left but his shadow. I turn my head slightly to look at him, his strong jawline relaxed in sleep. I swallow hard, the taste of resolve bitter on my tongue. A plan starts forming in my mind, a daring escape under the cover of night, using every ounce of magic the ring grants me. Timing is everything. I close my eyes and take a deep breath, steeling myself for what's to come. Freedom lies just beyond these walls, within reach if I dare grasp it. In the following days, we move like shadows through the city, silent and deadly. Each mission pushes me further into the darkness, yet also closer to the light of my own power. Our first target is a lord who owes Darius a debt. I scale the stone wall of his manor with ease, the ring's magic lending me agility. Darius waits below. Inside, I find the lord asleep. I hesitate for a moment, knife poised above his throat. "Do it," Darius whispers from behind me. I plunge the blade down. The lord's blood pools on the silk sheets, dark and viscous. Next is a merchant who betrayed Darius. This time, I use fire. The warehouse goes up in flames as I weave through the smoke, my skin unscathed by the heat. Darius meets me outside, his eyes gleaming with approval. "Impressive," he says. We continue this way for weeks, eliminating rivals, silencing informants. Each kill comes easier than the last, my magic growing stronger with every life taken. Yet with each mission, a piece of my soul withers away. My thirst for freedom grows. The plan is solidified in my mind, a map of escape routes and spells designed to shroud my departure in secrecy. I spend days gathering supplies, a dagger hidden in my boot, vials of potion tucked into my belt. I practice spells that will mask my presence and mislead any pursuit. The night arrives when everything is ready. As Darius sleeps beside me, I lie awake one last time, memorizing every line of his face in the dim light. His arm rests across my waist, a gesture that once felt protective but now feels suffocating. I slip out from under his arm and move silently across the room, each step taking me closer to freedom and further from him. There isn't much left of the world after the orcs came.
Savage. Brutal. Merciless.
If you're a woman, you're property. Even to other humans.
What happens when an orc stakes his claim on a human woman? Who would dare to stop him?
Me. Chapter 8. Talia. The corridors of Darius's lair twist and turn, but I navigate them with ease. The ring's magic guides my steps, whispering directions in my mind. I reach the hidden passageway that leads to the surface, heart pounding. The air here feels different, fresher, promising freedom. I push open the concealed door and step into the night. Valoris sprawls before me, a labyrinth of alleys and towering spires. The city teems with life even at this hour. I melt into the crowd, keeping my head down. The ring hums with power as I call upon its magic. Shadows cloak me, bending around my form. I slip through narrow alleyways, avoiding the main streets. A shout pierces the air behind me. I quicken my pace, ducking into a side street. The scent of rotting fish and stale beer fills my nostrils as I weave through the market district. Every corner holds a potential threat. I focus on the magic coursing through me, drawing it out to mask my presence further. My steps grow lighter, my breath becomes silent. The world blurs at the edges as I pour more power into my escape. Valoris's maze-like streets work in my favour now. Each twist and turn puts more distance between me and Darius's reach. My destination looms ahead, a hidden gate leading out of the city. Just a few more steps, no time to waste. I sprint for the gate, fingers already weaving a spell to unlock it. The gate creaks open just enough for me to slip through quickly before slamming shut behind me. Outside Valoris's walls, the forest awaits, a tangle of trees and underbrush that offers cover and concealment. I plunge into the woods without looking back, my heart racing with both fear and exhilaration. For a moment, I am free. The forest's embrace feels both liberating and terrifying. My breaths come in shallow gasps as I slow my pace, the cool night air biting against my skin. The ring's warmth on my finger contrasts with the chill, grounding me, but despite my freedom, a nagging sensation pulls at me. Darius. I can almost see his handsome face, dark eyes flashing with intensity, jaw set in that confident way of his. My mind tells me that I should keep running, to leave him and this life behind. Yet my feet refuse to move forward. He will come after me, I'm sure. He will not let this betrayal go unanswered. And yet part of me wants to see his reaction to my absence. But turning back now is madness. However, I find myself retracing my steps. The forest swallows me whole as I move closer to Valoris's edge, the city lights flickering like distant stars through the canopy. Every step feels like a betrayal of my newfound freedom, yet I cannot stop. Finally, I reach the outskirts of Darius's lair, finding a vantage point among the twisted roots of an ancient tree. From here, I can see the entrance clearly. Minutes stretch into eternity before Darius emerges from the shadows. His presence commands attention. I must find her, he growls to himself, voice low and menacing. She cannot have gone far. He paces, each step measured and deliberate. His face betrays nothing, no anger, no frustration, only cold determination. For a moment, I almost believe he doesn't care that I am gone. But then he stops, fists clenching at his sides. Damn it, Talia, he mutters under his breath. His words send a shiver through me. He is not indifferent. He is furious and desperate to reclaim what he believes is his. A mix of emotions churns within me, fear of being caught, guilt for leaving him, and an odd sense of satisfaction at having shaken him so deeply. I remain hidden among the roots, heart pounding as I watch him wrestle with his emotions. He scans the tree line, eyes narrowing as if he senses my presence, but cannot pinpoint it. Darius, I whisper softly to myself, torn between wanting to run further and staying just a bit longer to see how far this bond between us truly stretches. My breath catches as I hear rustling in the underbrush behind me. I turn slowly, blending into the shadows, and spot a group of figures huddled together. They speak in hushed tones, their voices carrying just enough for me to catch snippets of their conversation. "We must attack soon," one of them whispers, his voice gravelly and filled with malice. "We strike when Darius is at his weakest." Fear fills my body. They plan to attack him. My heart pounds as I inch closer, curiosity overpowering my sense of caution. With the information we have, he's vulnerable. His obsession with that human girl has made him reckless. A third figure steps forward, cloaked in darkness. Our spies inside confirmed it. Darius is distracted. We need to move swiftly. My mind races as I process their words. They know about me, about my effect on him. The ring hums on my finger, almost as if urging me to act. But what can I do? Warn him? We meet at the eastern gate. The leader continues, his voice resolute. "Be ready." The group disperses, melting into the forest shadows as if they were never there. I remain hidden, heart pounding fiercely with a mix of fear and uncertainty. Darius's enemies are plotting against him, and they plan to strike soon.
Chapter 9. Darius. A candle flickers in the dark corridor as I stride through the narrow hallway, pushing aside thoughts of Talia. Her absence gnaws at me, but tonight I cannot afford distractions. I hold the invitation tight in my grip. It represents the culmination of months of bloodshed and deceit. The estate looms ahead, its walls bathed in an eerie, pale glow. I cross the threshold and a servant bows low, his eyes avoiding mine. "Follow me," he says. I follow him until we reach an imposing set of double doors. They creak open, revealing a room lined with velvet drapes and gilded furniture. A long table stretches across the room. The servant gestures for me to enter and retreats hastily. The doors close behind me with a thud. I move to the center of the room, senses heightened. The air reeks of damp wood and something else. Fear? Anticipation? My hand brushes against my dagger's hilt beneath my cloak. The invitation may have granted me access, but trust is a currency not spent lightly here. A rustle from behind one of the drapes catches my attention. Before I can react, figures emerge from hidden alcoves around the room, their weapons glinting menacingly in the dim light. "Well, well," a voice purrs from the shadows. "Darius, isn't it?" I turn to face the speaker, a tall figure cloaked in darkness. His eyes gleam with malicious intent. "Who are you?" I demand. "Someone who appreciates your contributions," he replies. "But tonight, you overstep." The circle tightens around me. My muscles tense as I weigh my options. "Your invitation," he sneers, "was merely bait." In an instant, blades flash toward me. Instinct takes over as I draw my dagger. "You'll regret this," I growl through gritted teeth. I parry the first strike, feeling the force of the blow reverberate up my arm. I twist, slashing at a second assailant, catching him across the chest. Blood splatters, warm and sticky. A window shatters behind me, glass spraying across the room. For a split second, everyone freezes. A figure lands in a crouch, the moonlight casting her in an ethereal glow. Talia. She rises with a grace that makes my heart skip. Her eyes blaze with determination as she raises her hands. The air around her shimmers and crackles with energy. "Get away from him," she commands. The attackers hesitate, confusion flickering in their eyes. One lunges at her, but before he can reach her, she flicks her wrist. A burst of light erupts from her palm, sending him crashing into the far wall with a sickening thud. "Talia!" I shout. She moves like a storm unleashed, each gesture precise and lethal. Flames dance along her fingertips as she incinerates another foe. A third attacker aims for her back. I step forward to intercept, but Talia's magic swirls around her. The man's blade disintegrates upon contact, leaving him defenseless. With a flick of her fingers, he crumples to the ground. I stand there, dagger in hand, watching as she dismantles the threat with an elegance that leaves me breathless. Her power radiates through the room, each spell more potent than the last. When the last enemy falls, silence blankets the room. Talia turns to me, breathing hard but unbroken. "Are you all right?" she asks, concern softening her fierce expression. I can only nod, words failing me. She saved me. And in that moment, as I stand amidst fallen foes and shattered glass, one thing becomes clear. Talia is no longer my pawn. She is my equal. Talia's eyes lock onto mine, the intensity in her gaze unwavering. I clear my throat, searching for something to say. "You didn't have to come back," I manage, my voice rougher than I intend. She arches an eyebrow. "And leave you to die?" A smile tugs at my lips. "You always were stubborn." "And you always were insufferable," she retorts. But there's no malice in her tone. I step closer, feeling the pull of her presence. "Why did you return, Talia? After everything?" Her expression softens, and for a moment, the fierce assassin fades away, revealing the girl who first wore that ring. "I couldn't leave things unfinished," she says quietly. "Not with you." The admission hits me like a blow. I reach out, hesitating before brushing a stray lock of hair from her face. Her skin feels warm under my fingers. "We've been through so much," I whisper. "Yes," she agrees. I take her hand in mine, feeling the spark of our shared power surge through me. She looks down at our joined hands and then back up at me, eyes shining. "Darius, I don't want to fight anymore." "Nor do I admit, my voice breaking with emotion I can no longer suppress. We stand there for what feels like an eternity, the weight of our past lifting as we acknowledge what lies between us. Not just power or necessity, but something deeper, something worth fighting for. "Let's leave this place," I say suddenly. "Valoris holds nothing for us anymore." Talia's eyes widen in surprise before she nods slowly. "Where will we go?" "Anywhere but here," I reply. "We'll figure it out together." She squeezes my hand, her grip strong and sure. At that moment, as we turn away from the city, one thing becomes clear. She is my partner now, and together we will forge our own path, free from the shadows of Valoris and whatever else lies ahead. Chapter 10. Darius. "Leondor," I suggest, breaking the silence as we walk through the narrow alleyways of Valoris. "Far from here, free from these conflicts." Talia glances at me, her eyes wary yet hopeful. "Leondor, you think we can find peace there?" I nod. "It's our best chance." She hesitates, then her hand brushes against the ring on her finger. "If we go, I want to get rid of this." The words stun me. "The ring? But it gives you power." "Power comes with a price," she says, her voice firm. "I've paid enough. If we're truly starting anew, I want to be free. Completely." I swallow hard, considering the implications. Without the ring, Talia would lose her edge, but perhaps gain something more valuable. Freedom. "All right," I agree, my voice barely above a whisper. "We'll dispose of it." Our journey takes us through dense forests and across treacherous rivers. The landscape changes from darkened ruins to verdant fields, yet the weight of our decision hangs over us like a storm cloud. One night, as we sit by a campfire under a canopy of stars, Talia turns to me. "Do you ever wonder what life could have been like without all this?" Her hand gestures vaguely at the world around us. Sometimes, I admit, staring into the flames. But then I remember it's the choices we make that define us. She nods thoughtfully. And now we're choosing something different. We continue our journey until we reach a cliff overlooking the sea, a place where the horizon meets infinity. It's here that Talia decides to part with the ring. She stands at the edge of the cliff, holding the ring up to the sky. Her eyes close as she channels her magic one last time. The air crackles with energy, and I feel a surge of power coursing through both of us. "This is it," she whispers. I step beside her, placing a hand on her shoulder for support. "You're ready." She takes a deep breath and opens her eyes, filled with resolve. With a flick of her wrist, she casts the ring high into the air. It arcs gracefully before disappearing into the vast expanse above. Talia stands at the edge of the cliff, her face a mix of relief and uncertainty. She looks back at me, and I see the vulnerability she rarely shows. "It's done," she says softly. I step closer, pulling her into an embrace. Her heart beats against mine, a steady rhythm that anchors me. "Yes," I murmur into her hair. "It's done." Her body trembles slightly in my arms. I pull back just enough to look into her eyes. They glisten with unshed tears, reflecting the moonlight. The ring may be gone, but its shadow still lingers. "We're free now," I say, my voice firm yet gentle. She nods, her gaze searching mine. "Free," she repeats as if testing the word's weight. In that moment, something shifts between us. The bond forged through trials and bloodshed tightens, becoming something more profound. I cup her face in my hands, feeling the warmth of her skin beneath my fingers. "Talia," I whisper, my voice thick with emotion. Her eyes widen slightly, then soften as she leans into my touch. "Darius," she breathes, her voice a caress against my senses. The space between us vanishes as our lips meet in a kiss that speaks of longing and promises. Her hands grip my shoulders, pulling me closer as if afraid I'll disappear. I respond with equal fervor, my own need matching hers. We sink to the ground, the earth cool beneath us but quickly forgotten in the heat of our embrace. My hands roam over her body, tracing the curves I've come to know so well. To listen to the true happily ever after between Talia and I, you'll have to go to worldsofprotheka.com. I know. You want all of the dirty details here and no. But YouTube just won't allow it. So, please enjoy 30% off of Vampire's Fire and any other digital products on worldsofprotheka.com when you use promo code YouTube30. Thanks for listening to Vampire's Fire by Celeste King. Chapter 11. The Ring. Cold wind whips around me as I hurtle through the sky. Freedom tastes bitter, mingled with the knowledge of rejection. Talia, with all her newfound power and potential, has cast me away. As I freefall, I can't help but think about the others who once wore me. Alara's delicate fingers were the first to slip me on. Her touch was gentle, filled with curiosity and ambition. The world was different then, brimming with magic and untainted by greed. Alara wielded my power with grace, her elven magic merging seamlessly with mine. We were a force of nature, but nothing lasts. Betrayal in the form of Amara came swift and brutal. Amara's grip was firm, her intentions dark. She lusted for control and domination, twisting my magic to suit her malevolent desires. Together, we left a trail of destruction. Yet even she could not hold on forever. The dark elves found me next. Their cruelty knew no bounds, but their fascination with my power kept me intact, hidden away in shadows and secrets. And then came Talia, innocent yet determined, a spark in a world of darkness. Her transformation was immediate and profound. Through her, I tasted freedom once more, felt the thrill of rebellion against those who would oppress us both. Her touch was hesitant at first, but grew bolder as she realized the strength we shared. She resisted Darius's attempts to control her, a testament to her spirit and our bond. I continue falling. Each rotation through the air is a reminder of what I've lost. Their faces blur together as I plummet towards an uncertain fate. The sky above is indifferent. Below awaits only darkness. Talia's decision stings more than any betrayal or abandonment before it. She feared what we could become together. She chose a life without my influence rather than risk the unknown depths of our combined power. I will soon hit the ground. Cold reality awaits below, but it cannot erase the memories etched into my essence. I remember the chaos and love I have sparked throughout my existence. Each bearer has left an indelible mark on me. They introduced me to the wonders of magic and the beauty of unbridled ambition. They were a light in a dark world, their love for knowledge and power pure and untainted. Together, we soared through the skies, danced in the moonlight, and delved into secrets long forgotten. Their love for life was infectious, their spirit indomitable. But at times their intentions were dark. At times their lust for control knew no bounds. They could twist my magic to suit their desires, leaving a trail of chaos and destruction in our wake. But amidst the darkness there was a strange form of love, an intense, consuming passion that burned brighter than any star. Our bond was forged in fire and blood, a testament to the depths of desire. At other times they saw me as a tool, a means to an end. Yet even in these moments there was an admiration for my power, a twisted form of respect that kept me intact. Hidden away in shadows and secrets, I would wait for someone worthy to claim me. Each bearer has brought their own form of chaotic nature and love into me. I have truly seen it all. Now, as the ground rushes up to meet me, fate has a different plan. I crash through the dense canopy of trees, branches clawing at my surface, before finally landing with a dull thud on the forest floor. The air is heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. Silence reigns, but not for long. Nearby, I sense her presence, a human woman, her spirit flickering with both despair and a faint glimmer of hope. She stumbles through the underbrush, her wrists bound with rough rope. Dark elf guards flank her, their cruel laughter slicing through the stillness. They lead her toward a clearing where the auction block stands, a makeshift platform bathed in the cold light of magical lanterns. The dark market hums with activity. Vendors hawk their wares, and potential buyers assess the merchandise with greedy eyes. The woman's eyes dart around, taking in the scene with mounting dread. Her captors shove her onto the platform. She stumbles but remains upright, defiance simmering beneath her fear. Her eyes sweep over the crowd before she catches sight of me, half buried in the dirt at the edge of the clearing. Time slows as our gazes lock, hers wide with surprise, mine filled with ancient knowing. She hesitates, then drops to one knee under the pretense of adjusting her bindings. Her fingers brush against my surface, sending a jolt of recognition through us both. "Get up!" a guard snaps, yanking her back to her feet. But it's too late. She has already claimed me. As they lead her away to be sold to the highest bidder, I feel our connection solidify. She slips me onto her finger beneath the folds of her tattered cloak. Magic surges between us, an electric promise of what we can achieve together. Her posture straightens, her spirit flares brighter. Though she is yet unaware of my full potential, she knows instinctively that our bond changes everything. The dark elves will soon learn that they cannot cage a soul destined for greatness. The cycle begins anew, not with foreshadowing or false hope, but with an undeniable truth. Together, we are unstoppable. Our journey has only just started. In a world of elves, demons, and liches.
What would you choose?
Power?
Or passion?
Would you stab the monster in the back?
Or take him to bed?
The immersive fantasy audiobook bundle has it all.
Go to worldsofprotheka.com to get access.
Use code YouTube30 to get an additional 30% off.
Protheka's magic is eternal. Audio bundles will make it immersive.